So, Jaguars' new head coach, Doug Peterson, was officially hired to be the Jaguars' head coach last Thursday. Saturday, he had his introductory press conference, and as of today, he has officially made his first hires as the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the first guy that was introduced is a quarterback coach by the name of Mike McCoy. Now, this is a familiar name because he's been around the NFL for a long time. And one interesting thing about really just looking at the way Doug Peterson is doing things is he's doing things very similar to the way he was doing stuff when he was head coach for the Eagles, is that he came in and he is starting to build his coaching staff from a quarterback-centric perspective. In Philadelphia, he went out and hired Frank Reich and John DeFilippo. Both those guys were quarterbacks. And from what it looks like with the Jaguars, Doug Peterson, quarterback himself. Mike McCoy played quarterback in college and professionally. And also it looks like the Jaguars will most likely hire Press Taylor as offensive coordinator for the Jaguars, although it's not official or anything yet. And obviously, if it does become official, I will let you guys know. But if that does become the hire, he was also a former quarterback. So you're going to bring in a head coach that played quarterback, a quarterback's coach that played quarterback, and a offensive coordinator that also played quarterback. So those are some interesting things to note. To tell you a little bit about Mike McCoy's coaching career, from 2000 to 2008, he played a bunch of different roles for the Carolina Panthers: offensive assistant, wide receiver coach, quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, before 2009 came, where he served as the Broncos offensive coordinator from 2009 to 2012. Then from 2013 to 2016, he was the head coach for the San Diego Chargers at the time. And then 2017, he was a Broncos offensive coordinator, and 2018, he was the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator. And he has been out of the NFL since being fired in 2018 and actually being replaced by Byron Leftwich, ironically enough. With this, he has had some good times as an offensive coordinator, but really, he's a quarterback coach, and that's what he is. He's not going to be calling plays. He's not going to be head coaching. I think he's had some up and downs as an offensive coordinator, but I am not going to sit here and ridicule a position coach hire, especially a position coach hire where this guy has tons of experience. He's been a coach for all different parts of the side of the offense. Former quarterback, former head coach. He brings in a ton of experience, obviously. And, he helped build a Tebow that really worked out. He helped build an offense that really worked out for Tim Tebow while he was an offensive coordinator for Denver. So comes in here, brings tons of experience. I do like this hire. We'll see what kind of happens when it comes to the Jaguars hiring an offensive coordinator to come. Now, the next hire the Jaguars made is that, look, we have a defensive coordinator now, and that's pretty big, especially for Doug Peterson, where when Doug Peterson was the head coach for the Eagles, he basically kind of let Jim Schwartz run with the defense. You know what I mean? That was Jim Schwartz's defense. He was basically the head coach on the defensive side of the ball. Doug Peterson more so sticks to the offensive side of the ball. So this is a big hire. Now, it's not a very familiar name. Mike Caldwell. He is the inside linebackers coach for the Buccaneers. And the funny thing is that if the Jaguars hired Byron Leftwich was most likely going to be bringing in outside linebacker coach Larry Foote as the defensive coordinator. But now that we have Doug Peterson, we now have the inside linebacker coach for the Buccaneers, Mike Caldwell. Now, Mike Caldwell, once again, similar to Mike McCoy, he played the position. He was a former linebacker in the NFL, so he brings that kind of experience. He is also going to be running a 3-4 defense similar to what was run over in Tampa Bay and similar to what Joe Cullen ran for the Jaguars last year. They run a pretty nice defense over there, so we'll kind of see more of that to come. Served 11 years as a player in the NFL and also 14 years as a coach. And When I was doing research on this guy, there were some sound clips of him from last year's Super Bowl where both Bruce Arians and a starred linebacker, Devin White, spoke about him. So I'll go ahead and play that for you guys right now.
Mike's done a great job. Did a great job in Arizona with us when he was there, and then in New York. He's a hell of a coach. He should be a coordinator. And I think he and Larry Foote and a couple other guys on defense are coordinators in the waiting. But Mike has done a fantastic. He's really good with his players, and they're super prepared.
Coach Caldwell, out of all the coaches I ever played for, he's been the most meaningful and most impactful coach that I ever had. And man, it all starts with him being a student of the game, because Coach Caldwell played 11 years in the league, and he's been in every situation, and he's been a great player. And this is my first time ever having a coach to coach me that has also played the game. I never had the type of that type of coach player interaction before, and I'm so thankful for it. And he bring a lot, man. I swear we get better every day when we walk up on the practice field, and we always text after the game, and I say, Coach, I got to get better at zone dropping. I feel like it's killing me, but because I never been a zone dropper, I always been a man-to-man type of linebacker, chasing people or blitzing. And if you look at my zone dropping now, I'm playing extremely well. I'm doing extremely well. I'm reading routes. I'm understanding route concepts and a lot of stuff. And that's just all thanks to him, because he don't mind putting in the time with you. Because if you want to be great, he's going to help push you there. You got some people, when it's time to get out the building, they're ready to get out the building. But Coach Caldwell, he's willing to go above and beyond just to help me be the greatest. And, I have desire to be the greatest. So, look, he's going to help me put the work in. So I'm really appreciative of him, and I'm really thankful that he's my coach.
And last thing I will note about this is that he is a black man. And as I was doing more research on this, and obviously right now it's being talked about a lot, really, with the way minorities are treated kind of around the NFL. And I did some research on this, and strangely enough, Mike Caldwell is only the second black guy to essentially be an offensive or defensive coordinator for the Jaguars. The other guy was Mel Tucker. So I thought that was an interesting thing to note. And, one cool thing about this is, look, like, if this guy comes in here and really, really kills it, the NFL may reward us for this, because, you've seen teams that, like Mike McConnell, who just got hired by the Dolphins, because he's a minority, now what's called the 49ers are essentially getting 2 third-round picks because of that. So hopefully this guy comes in here and kills it, and maybe even he gets a head coaching gig, maybe from what he does for the Jaguars, and Jaguars maybe get some, good compensation for that. And also with this, we just hope that he can become successful for the Jaguars, because we do want Doug Peterson to start being able to build his head coaching tree. You know what I mean? He already has one guy in the AFC South. Frank Wright is from the Doug Peterson coaching tree. So it'd be great if the Jaguars were able to really build a foundation over here where other teams are picking coaches off of us, because we have such a good thing going on now. But I'm not going to count on that too soon. Let's see some results first before we kind of go into that. But shout out to Mike Caldwell, his first opportunity to be able to get a defense coordinator job. I know everybody watching this video will be behind him. And of course, with all that said, man, I'm going to be updating you guys on all the different coaching hires. I imagine there's going to be a lot of them, thrown in here from day to day. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. I'm sure hopefully by this weekend we get a lot of it wrapped up. And then, we'll be about halfway through February. Then we can really start focusing on free agency, because that's coming to us pretty quickly. So we'll see who we keep from our team and who we decide to move on to. But it's exciting. We have our head coach in here. We can stop stressing about it. Now we can kind of see the coaching staff that Doug Peterson builds, who he retains, what new guys that he brings in. And I think it's a pretty exciting time to be a Jags fan. I think we got a really good head coach, and the more you think about it, the more Doug Peterson to Jacksonville really did make sense. But with all that said, thank you guys for watching the video. Please drop a like for me if you guys can. It really helps out the channel, really helps this thing grow. Really enjoy the Jaguars fan base that we've been able to build on here, and really build up our presence on YouTube. It's, a really, really awesome thing. And With all that said, thanks guys for watching, and go Jags.